What they're saying is like, if you think you're going to live till 90, 85, you probably...
Oh, you're dying soon.
No, listen. Scared money don't make money.
Yeah, there you go.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Yeah, and so basically we're kind of like, almost like joking around. Like, what about like city council?
Thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome to Seager Storytime. We're your hosts, Mattson, Case, and Elliott, and we're the co-founders of Seager Company.
Yeah, so what is the day-to-day nowadays? I guess just to kind of jump into that, right?
Okay, day-to-day. Okay, so I have 4 kids, and one of them is little. She's 11 months.
Okay.
Congrats.
So thank you.
Yeah.
So she just started sleeping through the night. So I wake up typically an hour before she gets up. So I get up about 6. She's up at 7. I see her for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'm in the office. So I try to get in the office about 7:30.
That's early.
I'm there till about 5.
Dang.
And then if I don't have anything for the city, or if there's no events for the business, then I'm typically home 5:30. Dinner, hang with the kids, bath, put everybody to bed, and then
Back
go
at
to
it.
sleep. Yeah.
Early.
So are you office every single day?
Every day.
Okay.
Yeah, every day unless I have, if we're in the middle of a capital raise, we end up being on the road a little bit more. It's a lot of like lunches and dinners, or like stuff like this. I'm out, but other than that, I'm in the office.
And when you say capital raise, are you talking about like what is your job?
Oh, okay. So our business, we're technically a private equity real estate firm.
Okay.
So what that means, we go out and find either apartment buildings or storage units, and then we bring investors in, and then we manage basically, the investment and the project, and then,
Okay.
when done right, which has been so far, we give money to the investors.
Is it kind of crowdfunded per project, or is it just one single investor that comes in?
Crowdfunded. Yeah,
Oh,
we have
that's cool.
we have 750 investors now.
No way.
Yeah, so we have a lot
Jeez.
of
I want to join in on that.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
cool. It's like, it's totally the idea of like, there's only so much we can do as an individual.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when we get to come together, we get to buy assets that, are contending with the big players.
Yeah, that's rad. That's super cool.
Did you get into that? Because I know, which we should probably dive into too, with Saint Archer, which we talked a little bit, as we were saying before, with Brian about that, because I know he got involved a bit. But did you go straight from Saint Archer into doing that, or was there like a time in between where you're just like going to Hawaii and chilling and hanging out?
There was time in between. It was not chill though. So basically, we sold Saint Archer, and then we stuck around by and large for about a year, and then everybody started going in different directions. One of my partners stayed in the alcohol space, so he created a seltzer brand called Ashland.
Got it.
Now he's got like 9 brands under this umbrella.
Is that Josh Landon?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Paul is still like the best skateboarder ever. He's like 38 years old, but he has a brand called Primitive that's huge.
Okay. Yep.
And then for me, that was kind of right when my career ended as a pro skateboarder. And so it took me about a year to figure out what I was going to do. And so that year was, it was actually dark. It was not easy figuring out what to do after, that.
Why was it dark?
It was dark because I didn't realize how much of my identity was
that?
tied into not even the beers, skateboarding. Like I didn't realize how much of my identity and purpose was tied into pro skateboarder.
Yeah.
And so as we started Saint Archer, even though we were building a business, I still looked at myself as pro skateboarder.
Yeah.
And then when that was taken away, not taken away, it was just gone.
Yeah.
And then we sold the business. So now it was like,
There's no tie to it.
Oh, that was hard.
You still skate though, right? I mean,
not a lot.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
No, I skated. I still skated through that time of like trying to figure out what was next. But I'm a very addictive personality. Like when I get into something, I get into it. And so once skating no longer became the focus and it turned into something else, I just didn't skate that much anymore.
Yeah,
I feel that.
I get that.
Yeah.
I feel like
Seems
you
like
hear that a lot with athletes, though.
Yep.
Where
True.
especially skateboarding, or not especially, all athletes, really.
Yeah.
They're so committed to something for so long.
Right.
And then when you lose that, there's that period of downtime. It's like, who am I?
Right.
But then you have to find something else to dive into.
Yeah. I mean, you see the same things with just addicts.
Yeah.
Right? Like addicts who like get clean, the ones that just take that focus and put it into something positive, they're so successful.
insane.
Totally.
Wildly successful.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have a very addictive personality, and I've always said that. I've been like, I'm kind of jealous of people that do if they have their mind on the right
Yeah.
mind
It's
track.
just dangerous, right?
It's very dangerous,
Yeah.
but
It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Skating seems like a hard one to stay in as you get older.
Yeah.
Joint pain and just eating shit. It just sounds so gnarly to do that.
Yeah,
Past 20.
it hurts. Like, look, it hurts.
Yeah.
But that actually wasn't the hard part for me. It's hard to, like, in skateboarding, who you're really like resonating with or who's buying your product is 13 to 17 year olds.
Yeah, pretty young.
So like the older you get, the just
Not
harder it is
relatable.
to connect. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
hard part. Like, what the heck do these kids want to know?
Right.
Yeah.
What do they want to see? you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I was just watching a documentary on Bam recently and like how he's kind of resurging and he wants to make his own film, like a new skate film.
Damn.
Which is kind of crazy. And he's like in stock, I don't know, or somewhere in Europe. I think it's in Spain actually. And he's like retraining how to do tricks. And it's
Whoa.
just funny watching like a guy going into his 40s who's like trying to lose weight and trying to learn flip tricks again and like doing all this stuff.
Sounds awesome.
I wanna watch
yeah,
that.
I know.
Yeah,
It sounds
I know, and
inspirational.
he's doing good. Like it looks sick, but it was a Vice documentary, so he's not there yet.
Right.
Like it's kind of like him building up to it. But I just think about that. I'm like, I mean, I'm not a skater, but I wouldn't want to like get back into it. That sounds super painful.
Sounds gnarly.
and
I
like,
know.
if you're trying to impress people, you got to land some sick
I know.
Yeah.
shit, right?
Yeah. Well, for him, who he has a name. Like, I think people would just like want to see him
Yeah.
just skate. I don't think he
Yeah.
needs to compete with the kids anymore.
No,
That's the
no.
point. I
But
mean, it was
I wanna see him
entertaining
be
just
healthy.
watching him be
Yeah.
healthy. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he
100%.
it seemed like down a dark hole.
Yeah.
That's what it's looked like, at
Yeah.
least. I mean, I don't know him at all.
I
but
agree.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Check out that documentary.
Yeah,
It's pretty
straight
good.
up.
And,
What's it
and
called? Bam or something?
It's just like Vice, like what they're up to now or something like that. But it's just interesting because you see the jackass side of things and the Bam, like Viva la Bam and all that stuff, and you'd always think that like, oh, he treats his parents so shitty and like all that stuff, and they all are such a tight knit family and like a really good family
Yeah.
behind the scenes,
Right.
which is so interesting.
So you're saying reality TV's not reality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever hang out with Bam back in the days?
I hung out with him basically when he was on Element, kind of the beginning stage of the TV show.
Okay.
So before he became like world kind of
Yeah.
famous,
Yeah.
he was cool. He
Yeah.
was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like back, according to the documentary, he like didn't drink back then. and-
No, he was sick. Like he was just like rad, like full of energy and like
Yeah.
cool. you
Yeah.
know?
For sure.
Damn. I'm definitely going to watch that.
Yeah. Check
I
it
know. I
out.
want to watch it too.
Yeah, I know.
It's cool. It's
That
cool.
does
It's only
sound
like
cool.
40 minutes. And yeah, I don't know. I don't even know when I watched that. But anyways, back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for coming along. And I don't know if we usually started off kind of like have you explain who you are and what you do, if you don't mind, just so people.
Okay. So I started off as a pro skateboarder.
Yeah.
So, prior to being pro, I skated as a kid. Didn't want to stop skating, so tried to figure out how to get companies to give me free product and, ultimately pay me. That lasted about 14 years.
Sick.
And then,
time.
yeah, it was long. It was long.
Yeah.
I thought I'd only go pro for maybe 4.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Do you know the average?
I don't know what the actual data is, but if I were to guess, I'd say 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
I would
guess
say.
too.
Like,
Yeah.
the number that we always focus on is like if you do 10, you did it.
Yeah.
But like, look, people can stick around.
Yeah.
But like, I wanted 10 years of like, my career always moving up. Like, I didn't want to plateau. I didn't want to like lose
Yeah.
sponsors, but like hang on to the
You wanted
dream.
your 10th year.
Straight 10. Yeah.
Power 10.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then in that basically 10-year mark where I was like, holy crap, this can't go much longer.
Yeah.
That's when we started our first business.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out my backup plan
Yeah.
or what I was going to do after.
Yeah.
And so I started a company called Saint Archer down in San Diego with 2 of my really close friends.
Yep.
And then we ran that for about 3.5 years, and we sold it to Molson Coors in 2015.
It's awesome.
And then in 2016, I figured out what I was going to do. 2017, I started Commune Capital, which is a private equity real estate firm. And that has been what we've been building for the last, what is that? Almost
6 years.
6-7 years. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I just recently became a council member. That's like the
I
newest
was
one.
going to bring that up.
Yeah. I ran for city council.
That's hilarious. What made you do that?
I opened my big mouth. My wife, right? like any man in a relationship with a wife, like they're influential.
Yeah.
We were talking. Well, I'll give you a little bit more context. My wife and I grew up in the same neighborhood,
Wow.
and to add on top of that, we were neighbors. So my parents and
You
her
were
parents,
neighbors growing up?
yeah, we
Whoa.
shared the same like yard. Like
That's crazy.
Whoa.
yeah,
Was
she
this
was
in Thousand Oaks?
this was in Thousand Oaks,
okay,
Newberry
gotcha.
Park. So she was the girl next door.
Yeah. Wow.
I thought you were gonna say it, and we never met each other. Until
No, we met and we were friends, but like there was like nothing there, right?
Okay.
And so, gosh, I met her when I was 15, 22. She comes back from college for like winter break. And I see her out front, and I'm like, yo, what's up? You know? We go get dinner, we end up dating, and then, fast forward, we end up getting married, having kids. Well, we had kind of two different paths. When she turned 18, she couldn't wait to leave. When I turned 18, I started traveling the world as a pro skateboarder. And so she came down here, went to San Diego for school, and I was, traveling 6 months of the year, but home base was Thousand Oaks. Because I wanted, one, a place where my friends and family were, and two, I wanted, like, a place to, like, kind of recharge.
Yeah.
And so when we start dating, I'm like, babe, come move back, right? Like, let's do the Thousand Oaks thing. So she moves back, and then we start having kids. And when you have young kids, it's actually pretty ideal. Like, it's phenomenal for young families. But there's not a lot to do.
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of amenities. There's not a lot going on. So about 2 years ago, she starts kind of floating this idea, like, well, I don't know, should we look into other places to live? Like, there's so much else going on in San Clemente or North County. And I'm just like, nope. Like, no.
Yeah.
And finally, one night, she goes, what about, and I'm like, Jen, what do you think we're missing here? Like, what truly is it?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know. Like, if we have the night off and we have a babysitter, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like, our options are pretty small.
Like, there's no restaurants or something?
There's just not a lot of, like, hip, like, cool things that we would go to
Yeah, I
at
see
night,
that.
right? And so, amenities, right? Even like coffee shops, like they're a dime a
get
dozen.
that, yeah.
Right?
What is it, just corporate then? Like, I'm trying to
all
think, what is
it's
it?
like
Starbucks?
Starbucks and-
Like, it's real
Just
boring real
plazas and
fast.
stuff.
Yeah, it's just like
You want something that's like new and exciting, and you can order something that you've never even heard of off the menu.
correct. So like a brewery is very new for our town.
Okay.
Whoa,
So,
weird.
yeah. And so basically, I was like, through this like idea, like, instead of us like complaining about what we don't have, like, what if we like
No
be
way.
this is
Yeah.
What if I run for mayor?
Wild.
why don't we go try to be a part of that?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Like, do we get involved in like the community? Do we like, well, I don't know. And she goes, okay, go figure that out.
Do it.
Damn.
Yeah. And so basically we were kind of like almost like joking around. Like, what
Yeah.
about like city council?
But how do you do that? Like, how do you
I
get more hip? Just by being a council member.
Okay, so that's
Private
actually
real estate.
That's actually a really good question. And one thing I talked about when I was running was San Diego and what San Diego did for the beer industry.
Yeah,
Right. Like
right.
when industries are looking at a place to move into, a lot of times the city takes the approach to like let's say you guys, right? You guys want to come to Thousand Oaks. We would go, what can you do for us? What are you going to do by coming into our town?
Right.
Right. Where San Diego went, we want beer here. What can we do for your industry?
Yeah.
What makes it easier to get your business online?
That makes more sense, right? I mean, businesses want it to be easier. Otherwise, why would they move anywhere?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So one thing that our city does very well, and they just started doing, is they built out. They wanted to build out the life science industry in Thousand Oaks.
Life science.
Yeah, it's like,
What does
have
that
you heard
mean?
of like Amgen or like? No.
No, I have no idea what that means.
Oh, it's pretty sick. They're working on like
Did you Google that? I just wanted to get a visual. Life science.
life science. Yeah, it's
That
a
could
lot. Of,
be
it's a lot of
anything.
like bio, like
okay.
startups and like trying to
gotcha.
find like new drugs. And,
The word life science made me think of like social sciences and history, and I was like, "What? Life science?" That
It made
could
me
be
think
anything.
of like
We're all thinking things.
cryotherapy and like
No, they're like.
I was thinking of stem cells.
Oh my
Okay,
god!
this is the
That's
thing.
probably one of them though.
Yeah.
This is the thing that they're on right now. Have you heard about people talking about longevity, like how long
Oh, yeah,
we're most
for sure.
likely going to
Yeah.
live?
Oh
Yeah.
god, that's what you guys are
You're
doing.
banking your stem cells and stuff like that.
Well, no. Look, I'm not this, so I'm no expert in this. But basically, what I think they found is that there's a copy of every gene we have.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, and basically, as we get older, what they found is you can almost reboot the gene to the copy the same way you would a computer. Right? Some crazy shit like
Scary.
that.
Oh my god!
And
It's all
so
a simulation.
what they're saying right now is,
Clones.
however, well, that's enough.
oh my god!
We're already getting
knew
we're,
it.
We're 15 minutes in.
That's fine.
What they're saying is like, if you think you're going to live till 90,
Yeah.
85, you probably.
Oh, you're dying soon.
Listen. You look like you take more risk. You need to add 30 years onto that.
Oh my
Right?
God.
So like you're probably going to live to like 120, 130,
You think?
140. That's what they're saying.
He's got to talk to Doug. Shout out Doug.
So they're
Yeah,
doing stuff like
that's
that,
true.
right? But my whole point is the city took the approach of like, what can we do as a community and how could we help you get these projects online? So
Yeah.
a lot of times when you look at business, it's the same way. Like we have this boulevard that we're basically renovating or bringing it up to speed.
Okay.
Right. So you start making a push to get the right businesses in, the right anchors. And then, it doesn't take long before news spreads and goes, wait a minute, Thousand Oaks is open for business. And then it just organically starts moving in that direction.
So you guys chose to be the epicenter of cloning. So if you're 100, right? Is that the new 80?
That's what I don't know yet.
You know what I mean? If you're 120, like, what does that feel like?
Okay, so I
What
asked.
do you mean the new 80? What do you
Well,
mean
I'm saying if you said add 30 years, like, is it in terms of when you think of an 80-year-old, right? Is that now when you're 100, you look like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's trippy.
Because I've seen some 70-year-olds where I'm like, dude, that guy's jacked.
Because
That
the
guy's
way
doing
that
great.
science is working right now is that every year you're living is another year added on to your life, but it's about to double that, correct? Something like that?
I don't. The way they explained it to me is like, did you see the jump that ChatGPT went from 3.5 to 4?
I mean, I heard a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Dabbling in it.
Rad. Dude, 3.5 and 4 are. It seems like there's a 10-year gap in the technology, and it happened in 3 months. Right.
It's terrifying.
Just part of it is really scary.
But it's cool.
But what they said is like, what's going on in tech and the speed in which it's growing. The same thing's happening in the medical field. So that's where they're playing out this idea. I got introduced to this 2 weeks ago. I went to this like super exclusive dinner in Beverly Hills, right? And it's like all these like founders and CEOs, and the guy who put it on, the first thing he says is, "How long are you gonna live?" Goes down the line.
Oh my God.
Right? I threw out 75. I'm 75. Right? And then he goes, "Okay, this is the reality." He starts painting out this picture.
Oh my God.
First question I ask, what is 80 though? Like, is 80 today's 80-year-old?
That's the exact question.
Or is 80 a 50-year-old today?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, 80 is going to be like a 50-year-old today. Because
Holy
where I went with it, I'm
shit,
like, hey, look,
what?
if like I'm going to be 90 and I'm just going to stretch out 90 to 150, I'm good. Like I don't know.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Y'all
Just
exit.
achy for 60 years. Sounds horrible.
Right. But no, it's like you're going to be like RFK, babe. You see this video?
He's jacked.
RFK,
I
he's
know.
jacked.
I did just see
You
that.
basically
he
do
is
that
jacked.
till you're 140.
It's just the
So
skin.
I'm-
That's the one thing for him. He's got that loose skin.
My cousin was talking to me about this.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's all
70
jacked.
years
I know. But they got to
Of
fix the
course he has
skin part
loose
of it. You know what I mean?
skin,
So my cousin
He is jacked up.
is shout out Doug, like I was saying.
Yeah, he's the man.
Love you, man. Doug was he's actually an investor or helps start companies that are looking into exactly what you're talking about. Right. And he was telling me that the reason why a lot of this technology is so fascinating is because of banking. A lot of like you can bank your sperm, your stem cells. Obviously, it's not legal to bank your stem cells in the United States right now, but you can do it in Puerto Vallarta.
It's illegal?
Yeah, you can.
Puerto Vallarta?
Why is that?
There's
Why'd they
like-
pick such a tropical hot place to put cryo things?
I think it's illegal because you heard the story about this guy who has like hundreds of kids running around his town.
Oh, God.
Did you hear about this?
Because you
Oh,
banked his
fuck.
stem cells?
Yes, I heard that story.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Dude, it's like, is a doctor or something he wanted
Yeah.
to like, impregnate
what?
all these people with,
Can
they
you
thought
look that
other
up,
sperm, but
Bill?
it was with his own sperm.
Yeah.
Dude,
right,
you
right.
just,
Yeah.
there's always a psycho behind everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Every
So that's why
science.
it's-
Yeah, and then you
yeah.
have inbreeding happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But
Scary.
and
Exactly.
there's I think it's an American company, or maybe it's like from Dubai or something with a lot of money. But they
tomato.
set up in Mexico because it's legal in Mexico, and you can go down there and take your 29-year-old stem cells, and you can put it in a bank, and then when you are 60 and you start getting like
God.
sloppy skin or whatever you called it,
Flappy.
skin,
Loose.
or your muscles are starting to deteriorate, or you have arthritis, you can fucking plug in your 29-year-old genes and you're just back to it starts regrowing your body.
Wow.
In a way that your
What does that
body,
feel like, you think? Benjamin Button kind of thing?
It probably feels amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like you're like, oh God, my hand, and you're just like, just.
Oh my God, what is
stuff.
that? Was that a syringe or was that like a pump?
Yeah, you just syringe some shit in your hand, and all of a sudden it's like,
Fuck.
woo.
Yeah, but it's so early in the science. You do that now, right? It's
Well,
like,
you
what,
probably don't even need to do it now, honestly.
what do you mean? You just
Well,
like,
how the science is going. Like,
yeah, you just wait.
this is going to be outdated tech in what, 40 years?
That's what I'm saying.
But what if you don't bank your stem cells now? Then you're going to have a 35-year-old stem cell.
Exactly.
And then if you don't do
Right?
it when you're 35, then you're going to have a 40-year-old stem cell. And then it's
Terrifying.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's not. No,
That's not how it works.
I don't. Well,
I hope so. I hope it's not how it works.
Maybe, maybe. I have a feeling.
I'm like, I
they'll
got to
just
get down
be
to Puerto Vallarta right
Yeah, they'll
now.
probably just generate it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it back in.
Exactly.
Good to
Shake it
go.
up.
Yeah,
exactly.
it is
Shake
only
that
gonna
bitch
get
up.
better for sure.
What?
It's only going to improve.
Yeah.
Okay, but real question. If you could live forever, would you do it?
No.
No?
No.
I would
but
do
say
it.
you're,
I would do
say
it if
you're
I was
30,
forever?
good
Well,
shape,
Yeah,
forever. Would
30.
you do
I
it?
would do it until I got hit by a car or something.
No, you couldn't die. You hit by a car and you're just crushed, but they have to
titanium?
like put you together.
No.
I don't know about
I
that.
don't know. That's weird.
That's like
But
a weird.
I'm just trying to get rid of the like you could still die.
I would want to live as long as I possibly could.
300.
But
You don't want to be a
die
vampire.
Die of like a car crash. That'd be whatever. I don't know. I don't want to.
Feel
Like,
like
does that make any sense?
Why a car crash? Out of curiosity.
I was thinking of an airplane and I said car. I don't know why,
I
but
know it sounds oddly specific.
Both scary.
I'm both.
I always knew I
Basically,
was gonna die by a
all
car
I'm
crash.
saying is like I don't want to feel old.
Oh yeah, it sounds
Okay.
horrible.
Wait, so what's your answer to this?
I wouldn't want to live forever.
Why?
Gosh, I mean, what comes to my mind immediately? One is everyone else living forever with me.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of nuances.
I don't know if
here.
I want to go just
Yeah.
through cycles of, my loved ones dying over and
Oh,
over.
that would be horrible. Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. Everyone's alive forever.
Yeah, and then two, I just think I don't know. Like it feels like what's your purpose at that point? Like what the heck are we doing?
At that point, just fly out to space and just go travel the universe.
You might get
right?
a little bored, but you'd also be really
Got the
fucking
whole
good at
universe
things.
out there.
It's just
I
it's not what we're
honestly,
made
I
for.
think it would be. I think it would be like when you get the game code.
Yeah.
And you get to freaking have unlimited ammo and unlimited gun, right? You're like, this
Yeah.
is sick. And then like 5
minutes
minutes, you're like,
later.
this is boring.
I know.
I
Flying
honestly think
tank.
it would get more and more fun.
right?
Oh my God.
Because there's so many possibilities and things that you could learn.
And you get better at
And
everything.
you just get better and better. I mean, there's a certain point where you learn everything, but it would take a lot longer than just getting the game code, right?
I know,
You'd
but you have
to-
eternity. So
know.
there
Yeah.
will be a point where there's no more.
And think
Yeah,
about
there
You
is
are
businesses.
capped
And
out,
that-
right?
But then you
business,
get
you're
to that point and you're just like,
And
okay, I'm
everyone
there.
you ever meet will pass and keep getting older.
But that's
kind of
exciting
thing. Like,
too, because you just like grow with people, and then you're like,
know,
ah,
it's
that's
weird.
too
You
bad.
grow with them for
goodbye."
2 years, and they're like,
Weird.
"You didn't change. I'm
You
not
know
your
what?
friend anymore."
This is like getting real dark, but like I think after like the first 20 children are gone, like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
what you're watching your kids go away, and I
Yeah.
think there'd be a point where it just would be,
You just
That's
feel like
sad.
a vampire.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why it sounds exciting to me.
You want to be a
I know you love that. It's kind of
Uh,
interesting.
Fuck, I mean, it sounds like you just live life and you
I
just
would
keep
just-
living life.
Hey, look, you've heard the CEO of Google say this, right? Like his goal is to live forever. Like he is like hell,
that's
yeah,
terrifying.
That's like the one
hell
person
bent on
that
living
could
forever.
Maybe do it.
I
too.
know, but it sounds like you're in the room, bro. Was he there in that meeting?
Nah, he wasn't there. I'm not at that level yet.
yeah, right. That's another level.
Yeah, but
Still.
that's the whole thing that freaked out Elon, right?
What?
The
Is
AI
that he
thing?
was like, I want AI because I want to figure out how to live forever, and it's going to be a supercomputer that helps me get there.
terrifying. I mean, the whole bot
scary.
thing kind of freaks me out a little bit.
All right.
I just feel like they need to make, if they're going to make essentially like servant robots or whatever the purpose is of those things, they should just make them funnier. Because they're still so intimidating. They're always
that's a good point.
intimidating. It's
That's
like
a good point.
Make 'em
you want to look at it
comedians.
and laugh at it. I think you want to look at it and be like,
Just like
"Fuck
clumsy
you."
and just like
yeah,
falling all over the
exactly,
place.
exactly. It'd be way more
But it's
fun. It's
doing
still
everything
efficient.
perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like perfectly giving
'Cause
you a
then-
drink, but
then
then, just,
in
like,
your
Is
mind-
there
out of
a
the
point
room.
where the robot starts laughing at us though?
Oh yeah,
For sure, immediately. Immediately.
I'm
they already are. I feel
Dude,
like.
I'm already saying thank you and I'm sorry to like
Exactly.
Siri. 'Cause I'm like, one day
I
you're gonna
know.
like be like, you didn't say thank you for that,
Exactly.
and kill me or something.
Exactly. In my car, I'll be like, "Can you please play this?"
Yeah.
And it'll do it. I'm like, "Thank you so much. That was
Yeah.
really sweet of you."
I know.
It's
The other
so
day I was
funny.
using ChatGPT and I like asked it all these questions and then at the end I was like,
You're really sweet.
thank you.
I'm
just
still
to
gonna
make
kill
sure.
you.
Just
What
to
did
make
it say
sure.
back?
It was like, you're so welcome, Mattson. Like I hope you enjoyed your experience.
Wow.
Dang. All right. You just talked to me.
I need to rewatch The Terminator, I think, to really learn how that movie goes because I feel like it's just going to follow that exact path.
Yeah.
Simpson style.
That's
you know what I mean?
crazy. Yeah.
You know, they kind of nailed
History
that.
always repeats itself.
I know.
And that is history.
I know.
That actually happened. That was
Yes.
a documentary.
It was.
I know. Anyways.
In the past of the future, you know what I mean? What else? Like, because I know there's a huge tangent from
That was a huge
council member.
I love that. How did the council member went to AI living forever?
And so to bring it back to the council membership, what is that like being from the alcohol industry into the private investment world, right? Into council membership. Is there like crossover there, or do you like relearn everything every time?
That's a really good
It
question.
sounds like different types of people all along the way.
They're different types of people, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But there is some crossover.
At the rate that you're doing things, life would get really boring really quick because you're just doing everything.
Yeah.
If you live
Nothing
forever,
left.
you would be like the you know.
I think if we're really talking eternity,
Yeah.
That's
I
too
think
long.
it's you almost don't want to get there fast, right?
Sure. Technically, you can't, right? It's infinity.
That's right. So basically, the crossover is business, right? Like when you guys know this well. Like when you're building business, you have to have people come in. You have to build a team.
Yeah.
And that, whether you kind of leadership or that applies to everything. So I would say that's the crossover. Selling beer and building a brand in that industry, and then building an investment firm, very different. That part, I had to kind of get used to the different flow and the different type of person. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're investing in real estate, and real estate works very similar to a small business. So once you understand business, there actually is a lot of crossover. There's a lot of different industries you can jump into.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to not relearn. You have to learn new terms and maybe, get the lay of the land.
Yeah.
The city council part, the part that there was crossover is, when we're investing in real estate, a lot of times we're, working with planning commission, or we have to go, get approval from city council. So, we understood that part, but being on the other side of the table and, understanding how the city looks at things and how that flow, that was different. That was very different. It's just, it's slow. Like,
I don't even get at the local level too, I don't even understand the process. Like when you get voted in, right? Mm-hmm. Is it what you want it to be, and then the whole voting process, or do you guys rely on like businesses in the area? Like how does that work? Just like who gets to decide that?
It's a really good question.
So
basically, when we get voted in, we're the policymakers, right?
Okay.
So the staff will have an agenda, and that agenda will come from maybe priorities that the city council established at the beginning of the year, and then those priorities will, turn into, actual items to vote on throughout that year. Uh-huh. It'll be, real estate developments coming and being put on the agenda, or a city council member. There's a process in which they could put something on the agenda as well. And then once it's on the agenda, then we have an opportunity to vote for or against it. And so I'm one of 5 that vote for or against things.
That's got to be good for business a little bit. If there's properties, is there crossover?
Well, that's.
I was gonna say, right, corruption.
Yeah, so that's the that's the part where you got to be very careful.
Yeah,
right. So for transparency, our business does not do business in our town.
Okay.
Right? Like if it did, I don't know if I would have got elected.
Gotcha.
That
People would be on that.
because at the end of the day, like nobody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you control what real estate becomes what, and you have a financial interest in doing so, now
it's weird.
It's just you're.
Are you tight with the other council members, or is it everyone kind of like stuffy? I can't gauge what council people would be like.
Well, if you're looking at the general of all council members, it's probably all, right?
Yeah.
For ours, like we have the good thing about council members in a town like ours, it's not politician types.
It's like people like you are like, I'm going to do something.
It's people in the community.
He doesn't actually know what they look like. They're just people in robes that like walk.
I know. They get paddled. You get paddled when you
No, like for example, the council members for us, like one guy's a retired firefighter, one's a financial advisor, one's a chiropractor. So it's like,
oh, that's random.
It's normal people in our community.
Made sense until the chiropractor. Then I'm like, wow, that's random as fuck.
One's a photographer.
Huh. Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
What is
and then one's a
retired
pro skateboarder.
That one makes sense too.
Yeah.
Everything but the chiropractor makes sense to me.
Yeah.
What's his deal or her deal?
His deal. Well, he also teaches as well.
Oh,
so
God.
he's.
Why'd you say it like that?
Oh God.
Sketchy. You don't
Can't
like
be
this
teaching
guy.
in the same area.
What?
Can't be teaching in the same area you're counseling.
You don't
But
respect
to answer your question,
I'm
though,
just kidding.
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily grow your business, even if you remove the fact that you can't have a financial interest typically in what you're doing. You get in a position where half the community, they're probably not gonna like you.
Yeah.
Damn,
and the
that's
other
gotta
half
be
will,
weird.
But
so
you
it's
get
like
to see the other side too. So even if you're working in a different state like Chicago, you kind of know how the inside works.
well, what
True.
I would say where me being on city council will help my business down the road is it's growing my knowledge on how cities work.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, to be able to bring a project, let's say, in an area that we just closed on a project in San Diego. right? To be able to bring a project to the city, knowing how the city works and the goals, it gives you more tools to communicate with them, right? Instead of you going, I need this deal, what can you do? It's like, okay, I know that you guys have your priorities, and I know a big one is housing, and then you have your affordable housing, and I understand it. So how do we put this together?
Yeah.
So I think it will benefit my business later on down the road.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Damn. So what's the long-term game then? Council member forever.
No.
Staying
term.
1,000
Term
notes.
limits, bro. Term
Mayor.
limits. Term limits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even at council level, there's term limits?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? 2 terms? Or what are we talking?
We have 3 terms.
Oh, 3 terms.
Yeah, so you can run 3 terms. So I if I want, I can do 12 years considering I get reelected each time.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What term you want to
the time commitment to it?
Each term?
No, to every day.
Just in general?
Like how much are you spending in office for that?
Okay, so there's a floor, and then there's
A floor?
your
like
minimum requirement.
Oh, got it.
Right? Minimum requirement is we have a council meeting every other basically Tuesday.
Okay.
And that council meeting is going to go anywhere from 5 to midnight.
You're just shooting
Wow.
the shit.
Oh, wow.
Drinking beers.
You're not shooting
Cigars, back alley.
Everything you guys experience in your day-to-day business is very different.
I'm just picturing like
There's no cold
everyone's in
plunge.
suits.
Yeah.
Everyone's in suits, smoking big old fatty cigars. This is how we're gonna run it. You have the mafia there hanging out.
Yeah, no,
Does the
very
chiropractor
different.
guy give you a good deal?
Oh, 100%.
no,
cracking your neck?
doesn't crack.
He's never even talked about it.
Yeah. Really? Never?
All right, we're
That's
taking a
fucked.
quick break.
Yeah, that's honestly literally
No
quick break.
cracking. So
That's messed up.
that would be the meetings. The Monday before the meeting, I have an hour call with the city to go over the agenda.
Like the city. What do you mean the city?
Like the city
fucking
attorney,
Zordon?
the city manager, and then the director of each basically department that we're voting on, right? So I might be meeting with 4 people. I might be meeting
okay.
with 12.
Damn.
Right?
Wild.
And then on top of that, every Thursday, the Thursday night before the council meeting, we get our agenda, our packet. And then I have to go through that. So the last one was 1,200 pages.
What the fuck?
What do you
Yeah.
do?
You have to
That's
do that
insane.
I have to go through the
Cliff Notes?
packet.
You have to read that?
You have
I would hire
if you want to be
You're like, dude, I don't want to read this.
I suck at reading. Can you get it on a Kindle?
1,200 pages?
Or can you do the Audible version of that maybe?
But now look, part of this is if you're voting on a policy, right?
Yeah.
They're going to give you all the backstory of how you got there.
Okay.
And
Who's
then
writing
if
it?
there's contracts,
So there's
or-
Cliff Notes.
there's stuff that you don't necessarily have to. Some of it is like, okay, I don't need to read this part of it. This is,
Excess.
Damn, 1,000
That's how they
notes.
get you, and you just sneak one little.
1,000
Yeah,
notes,
yeah.
more like 1,000 pages.
Oh. Well, how do you make paper? Oaks.
Out of oaks.
that's good.
It's a huge paper industry up there.
Oh, God.
So
Stupid joke.
that's the floor,
Okay.
right? That's the minimum, and then
like a lot.
you get invited to
Soirees.
not swears like launches of new businesses, ribbon cuttings,
Damn.
events.
How many ribbons have you cut?
I haven't cut any yet because I'm not the
What?
mayor, but I still get invited.
Oh, they're the ones that do that. You're right. Would you ever go for mayor? Mayorship?
So our mayor is
Well,
a
he said not yet. So.
yeah, it's a rotating seat. So what it
what
looks
the
like,
fuck?
I will be mayor
What?
2025.
Oh,
Oh my
26.
God.
Wow.
That's coming up.
Yeah, so if you guys want to do another podcast with me as mayor, I'll have a lot more to share.
Wait, so you're for sure going to be mayor one day?
Looks like it. Yeah.
Whoa.
Boom, baby. We got future mayor in the house.
That's crazy. Is
Yeah.
that
Amazing.
normal? I thought
No,
mayor was like a
it-
specific thing.
Depends on how your city is structured. Ours is a rotating seat. Other cities, it's a elected position.
Damn.
Dang.
So the council rotates
Right.
as mayor every year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Change seats every
So you only
other
get 1
Tuesday.
year.
1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is so exciting.
I know, it's cool.
Congratulations.
Is that big?
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's honestly good to hear because I feel like everyone always says, focus on your local community when it comes to politics and voting and stuff, but that's kind of where it ends. People are like, all right, I don't know any of these people, right? And there's not a lot of people getting involved, really, I would say, on average, right?
There's not.
You know what I mean? And so for you, it's interesting that you went, instead of moving, I'm just going to dive headfirst in.
Yeah.
So
what I mean?
is
It's
your
kinda
wife
crazy.
satisfied with this?
That's a good question.
Yes, but
She didn't expect the hours, probably.
Is there any-
there was just it was the adjustment, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have a growing business. We had a 4th child, and then I just added a side hustle on top
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So there was a moment where she went, "This is
With
insane."
the upside of maybe having a nice place to get dinner later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
Which
it-
has that happened?
Uh,
Have you pulled in any cool hip places?
Not yet.
Okay.
But there are some cool places starting to come together. It's just you haven't seen the build out of like this
Gotcha.
place is great, kid.
Yeah.
So
It's coming.
I'm curious about the policy side of it. In
What's
order
your
to
position on
attract, no. In order to attract businesses, you kind of need to attract them on the policy side too, right? Like a little bit of like, hey, we want
Tax
cool,
incentives.
yeah, tax incentives, like whatever. Can you do that at a local level like this?
Yeah, you can. You definitely can.
Okay.
It just it depends on the company, right? Like it'd be hard if you're gonna like make a play to try to get like Amazon in or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I think you have more leverage to try to get some type of like TIF bond or tax incentive, tax abatement set up.
Yeah.
Because they're going to bring potentially 1,000+ jobs to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it's harder to do with smaller companies.
Yeah. Like if we were like, oh, we're looking for a new place, and you're like, oh, I'm trying to get Seager up in Thousand Oaks. Like, how would you win us over?
How would I win you guys over?
Sell me right now. Sell me on it.
All right, how I would sell this thing.
Other than a steak dinner with some red wine.
No, that's not what
That would work for me personally.
I would say this. All right, guys, we have a new district that we're building out.
Oh, fuck.
This is a phenomenal new build, right? We're going to lock in prime time, front and center positioning for you.
Oh, my God.
You're going to walk in this place, cold plunge, everything you have here, right?
And more.
We are going to have. And we have the demand for this in our community.
God.
So we can basically say, guys, you build it, they will come.
Damn.
And then on top of that, we're building up, maybe I would say this, we're building out our social media for the city. We're starting to really engage. You guys have a big direct-to-consumer business. You coming here, we're going to plug you into our system. Boom. Sales. Right? Here we go.
We're in. Cha-ching.
The same Rocky Mountain water. The same brewing tradition that started in 1873 in Golden, Colorado. Because when you're a favorite beer of rock stars, smugglers, cowboys, and presidents, you don't compromise. That's our legacy. What do you want to go down in history for? Coors Banquet. Start your legacy.
We want to give a shout out to a sponsor of today's episode, Desert Door Sotol. Desert Door Sotol, the most premium spirit, distilled in Driftwood, Texas. Desert Door. Desert Door is wildly harvested, fermented, distilled, and bottled by Desert Door in Driftwood, Texas. Check them out at desertdoor.com.
Okay, another question. If you don't mind me moving from the council member side,
Go ahead.
I wanted to kind of dive into what you were talking about earlier.
Bring it in.
Before the podcast. You were telling us that how you basically found out about the podcast.
The wall.
Yeah.
The wall. The wall actually has something to do with city council.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Tying it back together.
More.
Yes, this one's pretty cool. So, running for anything, it feels like a startup on like high octane. Like it is, you have to build it in like 4 seconds and a team, and you have no revenue. It's all donation based. It's tough, right?
Right.
And so for me and like my skill set in business, what my skill set is not, I'm not the operator. I will never be that, right? I am the vision and the energy, and I can bring people together and I can push hot forward, but it's not an efficient, push. It's all over the place. So the operator is like, key for me. Same thing for the campaign. I needed an operator, right? So I had my campaign manager, I had the person who was managing all of our walkers. The operator was Tawny.
Waters.
Tawny.
Right? Tawny was the operator. And so when the campaign was over, I was like, hey, I don't want to overstep, but would you ever want to work for commune?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, let me talk to my husband.
Because she was good at it.
She was good at it. She worked for Southern Wine and Spirits prior.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she was really good at it. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it, right? So we bring her on. I then end up getting on city council, and I'm dealing with time, right? It's just like I'm taking time. How would I say this? I have a full plate, and now I have to give more time towards something else.
Yeah.
And so I basically met with her for maybe 2 days, and I was like, we are redoing everything, right? I need you to basically, from these hours of the day, I need to be completely dark. No one can get a hold of me.
Right.
Because this is going to go towards, let's say content, for example, right? And then even on the content side, like I need you to be, when somebody says, hey, I need a meeting with Mikey, I need you qualifying them. Why? What is your potential outcome for this? And if it is not aligned with these 3 things, it's a no,
It's crazy
and push
that
it
you're
off.
here. This
right?
sounds so intimidating. We got holy shit!
Okay.
If I would have known that going into reaching out, holy shit, I probably would have not done it. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. Anyone listening to this who wants to get a hold of me, you can do it.
Yeah. There are 10 armed security guards outside this room right now that will shoot on command.
But
Tanya has to say so.
we'll get to like how this happened. But like really though, when you're trying to do more than one thing, right? We all only have so much time in a day,
Right. Yeah.
right? So you really have to put people in places to help you do it, and you have to have a mechanism of saying no. Like without that, you have no chance.
Yeah.
And so we had to create boundaries ultimately.
Right.
And so she is that person, and basically I get a call. I'm in my office, right? Tony, Mikey, come here. I'm like, all right. So well, what's up? She goes, look at this. I'm like, all right. She's got your website up, but she's got a video playing.
Damn.
And I'm like,
she loved it.
she loved it.
That's good.
Loved
So
it.
she was sold. We sold Tawny.
You
on
sold
it.
Tawny.
Wow, that's huge.
And then Tawny sold me. But it didn't take long. She
Wow.
was like, look, they do this podcast. You got to check out this brand. Like, this is like right up our alley.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And I saw some of you guys like walking in a field. There was like this great, well, not like B-roll, but it was like a, I don't know, like a little sizzle reel or something. Right? Whatever you got, brand video.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is sick. And she goes, okay, it's in San Clemente. Right? I'm like, okay.
Fuck. It's kind of fun.
And then she hits me with this. Your daughters are they have a sailing class in San Clemente that week.
Wow.
So she has access to everything, right? She
God.
controls. She is the
Tawny.
controller.
Yeah.
And so she was like, look, you can basically, I'll schedule these meetings on the way up. You'll do the podcast. You can see the kids because they're still going to be here all week.
Yeah.
Have dinner with them with the cousins, and then drive home. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Incredible.
She's like,
Yeah.
she's
She's-
gnarly.
She
is gnarly.
How do you spell Tawny? I like that name.
Tawny.
That's what I would have guessed.
That's a good.
Tawny.
It's like
good
Brawny,
name.
Yeah.
but a female version.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah,
she
no,
is solid.
Thank you, Tawny. Appreciate
Thank you, Tawny. That's crazy, honestly. That is so intimidating up front, which is great to have, and I wish we had that sometimes.
Yeah.
But granted, we're not as busy as your plate. We don't have like crazy side hustles like that. We're just
Yeah, one thing that we built out from the get-go was basically just the founders were good at different things, I would say.
Yeah.
And we all took care of different aspects, and it still kind of takes true to today. Now we're more busy, but we also have people underneath helping us.
Right.
But I think that's always been like a special thing that we've had between us three.
Well, that's why you guys are doing so well.
We actually all shared one email for like 4 years. I always forget about that.
And,
make
we didn't want to
communication
stop.
so
we didn't want to
easy.
stop it
Yeah.
either because
we
were
all
like,
shared the same email.
like,
No
oh,
way.
I want to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what you're responding to, and I want to be in the know of everything. And then it got to the point where like we kind of need.
it's getting weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we just
It honestly
Had
helped a
to-
lot
had
because
to
you're
go.
in the loop no matter what. Everyone's seeing the same thing. It's not like there's no forwarding or CCing. It's
Right.
So just seagerco@gmail.com.
which was
Right.
pretty embarrassing.
Yeah,
Have a
gotcha.
Gmail account.
Yeah, I know.
But it was kind of cool. At the same
Yeah,
time.
it's kind of
Like,
cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
that's
just figure it out.
Yeah, and look, I think that's hard for maybe everyone. When you're starting a business, you're so involved, and it's hard to actually get out of the weeds. Once when you built something, you're like, "This is mine. I don't want to."
Exactly.
And it's limiting, actually.
Yeah.
You can only get so far that way.
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
Actually, one of our first events ever was at Saint Archer.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
What year?
2015 probably.
Yeah. We were supposed
Or-
to do a collab. Remember that?
Oh yeah, we were.
Yeah.
We were going to do a collab.
Really
and
close to doing a
right
collab.
as you guys were selling, I think.
Yeah, and we
And
didn't
so it
do a
fell
collab
through.
because
Was that when
you guys-
Adam was still there?
It was.
Oh, was it Adam that you guys
yeah.
talking to?
Adam
Talking-
Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it might have been
he's a really close
pre-Adam.
friend. I text Adam like every day. He's a good man. Shout out Adam.
Yeah,
He is
shout out
cool.
Adam.
He is super cool.
And then there's Nick Greninger.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah,
he was
Grenny.
Yeah, shout out Grenny. Both those guys are from my hometown.
Oh, you're up
Actually,
north.
No, sorry, I don't know if Nick is. Actually, I think
Nick's up north.
Adam is from my hometown. I'm from La Jolla, so. But I don't know.
Nick's
how
Santa
know
Cruz,
Nick.
I think.
Okay, yeah, he might have met one of my sister's friends and something in college. But anyways, we had a connection, and so I hit
immediate
him
That
up.
connection.
sounds like Nick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's doing Talago.
He's doing Talago, yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing the
So
beat
cool.
box or whatever the box juice was.
Yeah.
And then
Box juice?
it was like a wine box or I don't know,
Oh,
alcohol
yeah.
juice box
Yeah,
or
I remember
something.
seeing
Well,
that.
and he was like a really good surfer, right?
Super good
Yeah,
surfer.
okay.
He's a gnarly surfer.
Yeah, he's good. He was like
Yeah.
sponsored by Rip Curl or something. I don't know.
He was
Back
the
in
team manager of Rip Curl.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyways, we got connected to him because of mutual friends, and he was like, "Yeah, come have your." We were basically coming out with a video, our first video ever, and so we were pretty much launching the brand in San Diego at Saint Archer in Miramar. And it was a fucking hit. There's so
Full
many people
circle,
there.
yeah.
There's so many people.
Dude,
It was
honestly, your guys' brand and Saint Archer would have fit so well.
I know.
yeah.
That's
It
what we
almost
thought.
happened.
That's
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
thought. But granted, we were tiny.
We had like two
Like,
shirts.
It felt
and a hat.
weird that we were going to partner up. It was like, we're so fucking small. Like, why is this
Honestly,
even an option?
yeah,
right
believe
now?
it or not, that's like the cool. That's kind of how you want to do it,
I know,
right? Because
totally.
the idea of partnering with a big person is good because you get exposure.
Yeah,
But the small ones are where like the
Exactly.
true core is.
exactly.
I'd love. I'm sure you've talked about it a ton in general, but I'd love to hear kind of like the early days of Saint Archer.
Yeah.
How you guys got together, how
Hmm.
it went. Was it easy? What was the process?
No, it wasn't easy. How it happened. My partner Josh was a surf filmmaker, right? And he shot a film of Timmy Curran called Union Express. So him and Timmy started in San Diego, took the train up to San Francisco, and stopped and at all these surf spots along the way, right? So they'd stop in Oxnard, surf Silver Strand with Dane, and so on and so forth. And Josh and I had a mutual friend. And Josh basically hit up our mutual friend and said, I want to do the same video on Mikey, but for skateboarding. We're going to start in San Diego, take the train up to SF. We'll stop in all these cities. We'll meet with local pros, and that'll be the video. And I kept telling our mutual friend, no, absolutely not. I'm not filming a skate video with a surf filmmaker, right? Not doing it. And like skating back then and surf, there was no crossover, at all. So I was like, no, he doesn't understand skating. I'll only film a skate video with a skate filmer. And Josh is very persistent. Hits him up, not taking no for an answer. Finally, they beat me into submission. Okay, I'll meet with him. So I meet with Josh, and right when I sit down, he's Josh is a really cool guy. He's very likable. I'm like, okay, I kind of like you, right? I was into surfing at this point. And he goes, look, I made this video. This is what I want to do. And he pulls it up and it's Union Express. I'm like, I know that movie. I have Union Express in my house. He goes, I made it. I'm like, no way. Nice. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Right. So him and I drive down to San Diego, basically had known each other for a day. By the time we got to San Diego, we felt like we were best friends. Nice. It was just bro fest, right? And the whole way there, we didn't talk about skate. We didn't talk about surf. We talked about business, right? That's kind of what we connected on. And when we were down there, I got a phone call from a buddy of mine, Mike Moe, who wanted to start a sunglass company. And he's like, dude, I got this idea. Me and my brother were partying last night and we were wasted. And he came downstairs. He's like, I got the best idea. We're going to start a sunglass company. And we're going to call it Glassy Sun Haters. They all started laughing, right? Well, they woke up the next morning. He's like, dude, this is a good idea. I should do it. And so he's pitching me. I hang up the phone. I look at Josh. I'm like, dude, I just got this idea. Or I just got pitched this idea. What do you think? And Josh goes, I'll never forget this. He goes, it's cool. But if you notice, everyone in our industry does the same thing. It's always, hats or sunglasses or grip tape. It would be cool if it was something brand new. Mm-hmm. And that statement basically lasted the rest of the night. We just started talking about things that had never been done. And about 11 o'clock, I'm like, all right, dude, let's go to bed. Kill the lights. And it's dark for 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, man.
All of a sudden.
Classic sleepover story.
I know.
Straight out of the movies, right? 3 minutes in,
Start
he goes.
giggling. Sorry.
No giggles yet. 3 minutes in, he goes, what about beer?
Yeah.
It's silent.
As he's sipping.
I lean up,
3 minutes later.
click the light. I'm like, what did you just say? And he's like, beer. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And he goes, craft beer.
Yeah.
We should do a craft brewery. And I was like, this is the craziest idea I've ever heard. We were just on one, right? So we basically go to sleep, wake up the next morning, abandon the film, drive home, because
way.
now we're starting a brewery.
Damn.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, dude, call your friend P-Rod. he's like, he like might want to invest with us. I'm like, all right. So we meet Paul off Canaan on our way home from San Diego,
way.
pitch him on this business
Jeez.
from the night before. Paul's like, I'm down.
Wow.
Right?
Fuck
It was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But you actually like got rid of the video idea completely that night.
The next morning,
next
we
morning.
abandoned the film.
Oh my
like,
god.
and we
your
were
whole goal was
hell
to do
bent.
it. Yeah.
We're doing a brewery.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
What was the original idea?
To do the brewery?
Yeah, like let's start a brewery. Let's get some
The
skaters
orig-
involved. Or
No.
Yeah.
No, way before that. The idea was, let's do a brewery. No clue what that meant.
yeah,
And but what we did know is like maybe we could contract the beer. Like we thought maybe somebody could make the beer for us because we didn't know that world. For
sure.
And we could just build the brand. And so once we pitched it to Paul, he's like, I'm going to do it. Then we spent about a year trying to figure out what this meant. And so we were going to breweries, basically asking if they could brew our beer. And we sold them on the idea that like we're pro skaters. Josh is a filmmaker, so we can make movies. We have a social media following. We were like pitching the
Exposure.
brand, the exposure, and almost like the ambassador play in 2011. So this is way before influencers. And we had like we had a handful of breweries that said, yes, we can make your beer, but it cost too much. Like there was zero margin in it. And so we got to the point where Josh looked at Paul and I and went, okay, we have a choice to make. Either we do a contract beer, somebody makes our beer, and we build the brand, and then in 3-4 years, we have to go build a brewery. Or we go build a brewery, right? And he's looking at me and Paul, and Paul goes, scared money don't make money.
Yeah. There you
Oh,
go. Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Right?
Gangster.
And we looked at him, he goes, let's build this brewery.
Yeah.
That's so
We're
dope.
like, okay, let's build a brewery, right?
Nice. That's
And then
awesome.
we didn't have enough money to do it, so we had to build a business plan, and then we had to go raise money, and then
Yeah.
we ended up getting the money and
Yeah.
starting the thing, and it just freaking took off.
So where did the name Saint Archer come from?
Great question. Catholic, I'm assuming.
No,
Just kidding.
Josh is not gonna like that I say this, but
Cover
there's-
your ears, Josh.
yeah, he's not gonna like this. But but it almost like highlights his genius. For 3 or 4 nights, we're trying to come up with names, and we got to a point where the goal was me, Paul, Josh, and we had like the founding team at this point. Everybody had to create a list of like 20 names.
Right.
And then the next night we were going to go over all our names and we were going to pick one. And someone in the group had Archer. I don't remember who it was, but somebody in the group had Archer.
Okay.
And we're like, oh, we like Archer. And then somebody just like lobbed out, what about Saint Archer? I don't know how they threw that out.
Really? They just fucking lobbed it
Lobbed
out.
it out. And we were like, damn, Saint Archer? Sick, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happened. We end up getting distribution. Like Stone came on as our distributor.
Damn.
And they did like a welcome to the company and an introduction of Saint Archer to all their sales guys. And so we give them the pitch, and it's like, I don't know, 40 people, 50 people. We do Q&A, and one of them raises their hands and goes, how'd you guys come up with the name?
Yeah. We need something cool. We need-
I'm like, oh, shit, right? Josh just goes, well, you know, I always wanted to name my first son Archer. And I figured my first business, this is going to be like a child, no better name than Archer. But we needed some luck, so we said Saint Archer. That's the name. And everyone was like, damn, what a story,
Oh,
right?
wow. Fuck yeah.
Inside, I'm going, John, how did you just do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it came. That's how it came.
Miracle.
crazy.
Damn.
But that's his gift. Like
Yeah.
Josh is so
off
quick.
the cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he really is gifted at like just thinking quick and coming up with like cool ideas.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's dope.
Were you pretty involved still when it sold to Molson Coors?
So, like you mean after or leading up to it?
Yeah, just like the whole process.
Yeah, so my role was we basically had 3, me, Josh, and Paul had 3, how would you call it? Roles, I guess you could say. Josh was going to step away from filmmaking and run the thing. You know, this was going to be his job, right? So Josh comes on as CEO, he's running it. I came on as like a hybrid approach, right? Because I was still skating. So, you know, I think at that time it was like maybe 60% of my time was going towards skating, and then the rest was going to Saint Archer. And then Paul, it was maybe like more 90-10. And so in the beginning, we were very, very involved. There's no team at all. It was just
sure,
us.
yeah.
Once we actually launched it, then, you know, I would drive down there once a week or so. I was on the phone, I don't know, 2 hours a day, but day to day I didn't have to be there. And then once we sold, I was no longer sat on the board, no longer, in any decision making. I was just at this point, I guess technically an ambassador. Josh ran the company for about 6 months and then took off.
So I have to ask you, as someone who knows what it's like to build a business and have it be your baby, basically, I'm curious about what it feels like to have someone buy your company and then basically run it to the ground. How does that feel?
I feel like, just to jump in there off my gut, because you're about to tell us the truth, okay? And I'm going to just speculate right now. It feels like you're dating a girl, you liked her, right? You see a future, and then you break up, and then your buddy starts dating her.
And then kills her.
It's
Exactly.
different. No, it's different.
It's a little different.
It's different than that.
Paint some imagery, you know what I mean?
No, it's different than that. It's okay. It's hard to sell a business. Period.
Yeah.
Like you just nailed it. Like if you've never started a business before, the amount of time, energy, sacrifice, and really just like kind of pain in some regards. It's very depressing and lonely and emotional to start a business. Yeah. There's so much that goes into that you end up like truly caring for, what you've built.
Yeah.
When you sell it and it's no longer yours, there's a part of you that it just feels like
relief.
is gone. Right?
Right.
No, it's not relief. It's like
identity thing.
The closest thing I think you could say to is like if you were dating a girl and then you weren't dating her anymore, right?
Okay.
Yeah, a breakup.
Breakup. It feels like a breakup.
And then your buddy starts dating her and then kills her.
Well, you're growing this thing too, and
This-
everyone's talking about it and asking about it, and no longer.
So
is it
here's
something that you do
now
anymore.
here's the part that's different, right?
Okay.
And this kind of goes off what you said. When you sell it, you're look, one, yeah, you want to make money because we had investors and like we wanted to pay our investors back, but you have a vision of what the brand can become by selling it to, a bigger company.
Right.
So we had this vision of like, oh my gosh, they're going to be able to take our brand to like a worldwide brand. And so you kind of focus in on that. When they don't do that, and then they end up running it, from what we believed, not how we would run it, and then it basically dies.
Yeah.
It's
Sad.
awful.
That's
Yeah.
a terrible feeling.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
awful.
Imagine.
Yeah, it's really awful.
That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's almost like if you were like, let's say, a pro athlete, right?
Yeah.
And you were like, the hottest up and coming skater.
And you break your leg.
Yeah, and then you can never skate again. It's almost like you see what it could become, and then you never have that. That's the feeling.
Yeah, I get that. Like,
Now imagine living forever and dealing with that forever.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I understand what you're saying, because basically if you have this whole envision, you're thinking like, oh, it's going to become $1 billion brand that I started and I did that. And then all of a sudden it's just like gone. And you're just like, what? That wasn't even my fault.
Right.
Why did you guys do that to me?
Yeah.
Does it still hurt a little bit, or are you happy with all the decisions?
He's our therapist, by the way.
Is he?
How's that feel?
It's not we made the right decision.
Yeah.
So I'm not happy with the decision.
For sure.
It's still, it's, we talk about it all the
Yeah.
time. Like, it
Oh,
sucks.
And you said it was
Yeah.
3 years, by the way, from starting it to selling it? Or
It
am I
was
wrong?
from when we opened doors, because we worked on it for a while to be able to open doors. But once we opened doors and then we sold, it was a little over 3 years.
Crazy. So is that just
You
like
guys
a mad
skyrocketed.
dash or what?
Yeah, it was. Well, yes. We had the opposite experience that most businesses have, and we talked about this earlier. Your guys' experience. Usually, you start a business and it takes you 5-6 years for anyone to know who you are. Like the whole game is just get
Awareness.
brand awareness
Yeah.
so that I could sell to somebody.
Yeah.
Ours was the second we opened doors, the demand was larger than the supply, and that lasted for the existence of the company.
Crazy.
So it was just raise money to brew more beer, just to have demand go further, to raise more money, then to brew more beer. That was the 3.5 years of that.
That's awesome.
Were you guys just out late partying and like spreading the word or what?
No,
Like
actually,
the alcohol industry, I'm like, do you just stay up late and party every night? Like,
we were about the business. Like
Damn.
partying was not a thing for us.
See, that's the one thing I've always said that. Sorry, it's an inside joke.
That was good. Point at the camera, look, feel. That's it.
This is for you.
Starting a whiskey company or a beer company, I feel like you have to be that guy always. You have to always be on because people are gonna be like, "Oh, let me try your drinks."
Can't be down.
Or you have to, you have to buy it for people when you're out at dinner, or you have to go to trade shows and always be tasting. Like, I just don't want to be around alcohol enough to like do that. But is it not like that?
Well, as the founder or the face, you have to always be on no matter what.
Right.
Like I think that's just a period.
Yeah.
When it comes to like alcohol, the answer is yes, but that doesn't mean you need to be drinking and shit faced the whole time.
Okay.
Right? Like if you're out with people,
Self-control.
Yeah, that's it.
Drink responsibly, right?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's
It's hard to do when you have a couple beers.
Sounds so hard. It's like, yeah, try the beer. It's like, you're not going to have one with me? It's like, okay, I'll
then
have one with you.
10 more guys come up, like, you're not going to have one with me?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's actually not that setting a lot, right? Like a lot of times, like, when we would do beer nights or we would, do
Tastings or something?
Yeah, we basically one thing that we did that was like massively successful is we would have, whether it was Brian Hansen or Eric Costin or all these guys come and they would be the bartenders. They would be pouring beers for everyone there.
That's rad.
Right? It was a huge success, but you're not sitting there drinking, you're working basically.
Yeah.
Right? And so even though you're in the setting of alcohol, you're not in the setting of like we're just here hanging out. Like I'm here making sure like you guys are enjoying yourself. So that doesn't really happen. Mm-hmm. And then at like events, there's like tastings, but you're not sitting there tasting all these beers. You're like making sure that your brand's recognized well. That
Right.
it's just different.
2 questions. First one, I might forget the second, but that's my MO. My first one is for those out there listening, whether it's now or 100 years from now, right? Because we're all going to live forever.
Nice. Full circle.
If someone's starting an alcohol, let's say beer in particular, business, what advice would you give them?
I had 2 guys come to my office yesterday.
And say the same thing?
No,
I feel like an idiot.
They're starting a not a seltzer brand, but
Oh my God, is it similar to a seltzer?
no, it's
Hard
water.
cocktail?
Like
Not
no,
water?
no, not alcoholic. It's like LaCroix. What's a LaCroix?
Oh, a sparkling
Sotol.
water.
Sparkling water. They're starting sparkling water.
Yeah.
And they basically asked the same question, like, what do we need to know?
I feel like a loser
in doing
right
this.
now.
No, it's
I feel
so
like a
good.
loser.
Why?
Because everyone's asking it.
That doesn't
I'm
make
just
you
a sheep.
loser.
I'm a
That
sheep.
means everyone wants to hear his answer.
Okay, so
sheep.
You're a
I'm
smart
gonna
human.
I'm gonna tell you what I said, and I want to know your thoughts on this because
Okay.
you guys are living examples of maybe what I'm gonna say or maybe against it.
Yeah.
I told them, and what I think anyone who's going to start a company is you have to start with the end in mind, in my perspective. Like, what do you ultimately want from this business? Start
Exit
there.
strategy or what are we talking?
Well, what I think you need to know: are you building it to sell? Are you building a business that cash flows? How big do you want it to be? Like, what is the ultimate goal? Because if you're trying to build something to sell versus I just want like a side hustle and like I just want to give like my friends beer,
Different approach.
completely different approaches. So I think you have to start with that.
Okay.
And then if this isn't just I just want to do this and see how it goes and I just want to have like beer for the homies. If it's not that, I think you need to go all in on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're going to build, a business that's generational or it's here to, basically to sell, what you need to go through in the beginning is how do I set this thing up to get there?
Yeah.
Right? Do I have the time to do this 24/7? If not, who's coming in from the beginning to make it so that we have an operational business from the jump? Mm-hmm. And then you need to look at what it's going to cost, right? Like how much do I need to start this? At what point am I cash flow positive? And can I last long enough for that to happen?
Right.
Right? If I'm going to burn cash for, 10 years, can I do this for 10 years?
Yeah.
And get to a point in which you have a clear shot at pulling it, and then you go all in.
How old were these kids that asked yesterday?
They are,
In their
I think
20s?
they're probably 30,
Grown men.
both firefighters.
Oh, nice.
Both firefighters.
2 firefighter grown, probably have a mustache, probably
No, because
muscular.
it's still early. The mustache will come out probably
No.
August. Yeah, for November.
They don't just do it year round?
No, they
That's
do
a
from
year
November.
round job. That's
no,
a year round
I'm
job.
telling you, I got a lot of firefighter friends. It
Really?
starts in like August,
And then
September,
what? When do they cut it?
December.
That's a shame.
Gone.
That's a real shame, honestly.
Family photos for Christmas.
If you're a firefighter, please keep it year round. Come on. We expect it.
You guys could do this.
This is what we
Wait,
do.
If I didn't know
Our
you
whole
better, I
office.
would say firefighter.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's always been my fail safe, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
So
a great job.
firefight, what if we're talking about them specifically, firefighters have time to start businesses, right? They work
sure, yeah.
their shifts, right?
Great mustache.
But they
They got
can't
good
do it
pensions.
24/7. They have to do it on the side. So basically, the advice I gave them is you're 2 people. You have this much time available. If you can't run this thing the way you need it, you have to find somebody who's coming in as an operator, right?
Who's
And
not
then-
a firefighter?
who could put the time in.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you just get creative on how you compensate people,
Yeah.
right? It's
I think that's good advice for sure.
Yeah.
We had a different start for us because we were young, so we had the luxury of being 20.
Yeah,
and
the
having
expenses are
time
low,
and being in
right?
college.
Exactly.
But if I were to redo something, I would definitely have that exact same start. So
Yeah.
I think that's solid advice.
yeah.
Yeah,
Be a firefighter.
we couldn't have done this without the fact that we were young and
Yeah.
you know,
Because we took our
Well,
time.
I would say that's probably the next one. Like when you're young, you can take risk and you can go for things.
100%.
Yeah.
Do it.
and you have to
Yeah.
commit.
Yeah, you have
If
to
don't-
commit. Yeah.
There's so many people that just half commit or never commit, and those are the ones that fail every single time.
Yeah, and I would say like they didn't really seem to fit this model. But if you look at like, if you guys ever read E-Myth?
E-Myth?
Yeah, it's
No.
so basically they talk about. I think it's like 80% of businesses in America fail within the first 5 years.
Yeah, I've heard like 2.
Crazy.
It's a lot. The numbers are so high.
That's
right?
wild.
And basically what they say is like somebody will be a brewer, love brewing beer, right? And they'll work for somebody and you have the CEO who maybe doesn't brew beer. You have all these people that don't brew beer. And it's really easy for the brewer to go, I'm the reason why this is successful. I'm the one making it.
Yeah.
And then they end up basically quitting
Yeah.
and starting their own company. And then you get
they're
hit
not
with
a
the
CEO.
realization of, oh my gosh, there's more than just brewing the beer. I now have to hire and fire and
Yeah.
all of the responsibility, and then it ends up not working.
Yeah.
Right. So I think,
crazy out there.
but you can be a part of you can participate in the upside of a business and not be the driver. Right. So like, I think it's good to note if you're the brewer and you have a talent, but you don't want to run something. Okay, fine. Start the company with the driver.
Yeah.
Who's going to drive this thing? Who's going to operate it? You're going to brew the beer. You get your equity in the business. So you all participate in upside, and you don't have to be the one who is, the CEO.
Yeah. Sounds like
So there's ways to be entrepreneur without being the
it's just
entrepreneur.
I feel like the biggest obstacle to that though is the human ego, right? Like people aren't in tap with controlling that on average. You know
depending
what I
on
mean?
I would agree with you. I think ego is what's Homeboy's
in the
book?
way.
Ego is the enemy or something like that.
Oh yeah,
What is that? What?
Ego's the enemy?
Ego?
Ego is the enemy, or ego.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, what's his name? Something Holiday.
Oh, Ryan Holiday, the
Ryan Holiday.
stoicism thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote a book
His
on it. I
books
think.
are amazing.
The ego
yeah.
and
Great guy.
what
Oh,
is it?
God,
Do you guys? Oh, I love
Ryan
this.
Holiday, he's the
You
man.
guys are doing it so right.
His
oh my
books are
gosh.
so good.
Yeah, ego is the enemy.
Stoicism
ego's
is
enemy.
insane. Yeah, I
So-
know you were deep into that for a bit, right?
Well,
The whole
yeah,
stoicism and shit.
I was looking into it.
So
His
ego
books are good.
ego jams you up for business.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't
need it.
can't build people up in a way where they can shine and succeed with ego at the same time.
Yeah.
But then you do need some
need
ego,
it, yeah.
right? So I would say when you're young, you're probably trying to figure out how to work with people, and I think probably ego is a potential roadblock.
Oh yeah.
And then as you get older, yeah, you always have those people that are just unworkable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that's the whole like the brewer who's like I built this business. It's like he has the ego, which is great. It's like yeah, we needed you. Like we wouldn't have done this without you. But he doesn't understand the business driver, right? Who's doing that part of the business because you need those to be symbiotic to grow it, and it's that disconnect, right, between operators and business side or designers or whatever to like keep in touch, to keep it all together. Just everyone wants their own stamp on
You're
it.
right. And
Yeah,
I think when you get to a point where you can start hiring like gnarly people,
Yeah.
then the ego comes into play as well. Like you're talking about hiring somebody who's better than you,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of people don't want to put people in a position where they can outshine them.
Yeah.
And then your business it's limited.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, so
What was
question
your
two.
second question?
I
I was
know.
just gonna say.
I kept telling myself in my head I was in the moment, but I was because I'm really forgetful. So I kept trying to tell myself in the back of my mind the second question so I didn't forget it.
You remembered?
What's next for you? Right? I know you're already a council member. I know you've already done a lot of things, as Mattson said, like eternity would be gnarly for you because you've already kind of like fast paced as fuck. It sounds like you're very you plan 5 steps ahead, right? You're always thinking ahead, you're always planning and scheming and on it, right? So what's next? Is it just continue growing the real estate investment firm, or is it something beyond that? Is it governor of California? Please God.
Do you want to come work at Seager?
Is it you want to work here? Fuck it.
Plunge every day.
Plunge every day. The plunge is a sell.
I'm down for governorship if you're going to do it. I'll throw your name out there.
Okay.
You don't know his policy yet.
Your wife might hate it. I don't give a fuck. You're dope, dude. Let's do it. That's what I'm saying. You know when they used to say like, what president would you have a beer with? I feel like they don't say that anymore. You know what I mean? It was like they don't say that anymore. You're right. It used to be a stat, and now it's like everyone knows like you will not have a beer with anyone. You know what I mean? It's like it's just known like you will not. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. We're having a beer. We're literally doing that. So I'll vote for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're gonna be president.
Okay, so
do it.
I would say there's a handful of answers to this. So bear with me.
Bet.
For our business, what's next for our business? Our current goal is to get to $1 billion under management.
Jesus.
We're at about 250 right now.
Wow.
And so
quarter bill.
Yeah, and we're like we think we're gonna get there. Well, let me say it this way: if we don't change anything, we just do what we're doing now and basically cruise control, we'll get there in 10. We have a goal of getting there in 5. I think it's possible in 3. So that I would say that's our goal, right? That's on the business side. On city council side, what I've been telling myself is, if I feel like I can actually get things done here, and I'm not frustrated with just how slow government is, then maybe I'll do this again, and then maybe I'll think about what's next from there.
Okay.
But there's too many to be determines on that.
Yeah.
Other than that, something I'm going to do at some point. I don't know the when, but I know I'm going to do this. I'm going to do marriage retreats with my wife.
Marriage retreats?
Yeah.
Is that like a once a year kind of thing?
I don't know what the frequency is going to be. Maybe it's twice a year. Maybe it's 4 times a year.
That sounds
It's
awesome.
going to be more specialty.
Yeah.
And
wait, so sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know the difference between that and a vacation. So
that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
That's true.
So, I don't know how to explain it without telling you the story. So bear with me.
All
right. We sell Saint Archer at the end of 15.
Okay.
Right. So in 2016, we no longer own Saint Archer. At the same exact time, basically, I'm no longer a pro skateboarder.
Oh my God.
And I have surgery on my leg. So
damn.
Can't
what?
walk. Yeah, I'm just getting boom.
What did you get?
Right.
What happened?
I tore a ligament in my leg and fractured my hip, and the ligament was torn and pulling on the fracture at the same time.
Okay.
And so I get surgery on my leg. I can't walk, which is, I mean, if you guys have gone through surgery, it's a mental battle.
Never done it.
So no longer a pro skateboarder, no longer an owner of a business, can't walk, and my wife hits me with, I'm miserable. This isn't working. It was freaking all of it, right?
Damn.
This was your low point.
Yeah.
17 was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal, boys. So what my wife does is she signs us up for this marriage retreat.
Okay.
Up north for 3 days. Doesn't tell me about it.
Where?
It was in Hume Lake, up by like Mount Shaver.
Yeah, it's
right?
People
beautiful area.
love that zone.
It was sick.
I see stickers all the time for Hume.
It was sick.
It's like a big
Alex
summer
Varian.
camp. Yeah, Alex Varian. Shout
So-
out.
She didn't tell me about this. She signs us up 6 days before we go, or we're supposed to go. She goes, I signed us up for a marriage retreat.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm like,
And you're going.
yeah? And she goes, yeah. And she didn't think I'd go. The reason she didn't tell me is
Really?
because she thought I was going to go, this is whack. I'm not doing this.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
go. Right? So we go, and it's up in the mountains. There's no service at all.
Perfect.
No phone, nothing, right? And, there's, speakers who are talking on certain topics, and then there's time where you get to like walk the lake, and, they have it set up so you get to connect. But one of the speakers was the guy who, check this out for us.
Google this, baby.
He was the guy who wrote the book, The 5 Love Languages. What's our guy's name?
I've read that actually.
Here we go. What's our guy's name?
Gary Chapman?
That sounds right.
Gary Chapman.
So Gary Chapman's up there speaking about the 5 love languages.
Can I see
right?
some photos of his face? I was trying to get a visual. Wow, he looks
And-
English.
I can't believe I've read that, but I have.
And here you go. It blows my mind, right?
Wow.
Blows my mind. And for the first time, I'm going, wait a minute. This is why my wife always asks me if I love her.
Because that's
right?
her love language.
Because how I'm communicating how I love her is not how she perceives love, right? And what we find out is like my love language, front and center, words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Like you tell me like, babe, you did a good job. Ooh, I'm feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Hers is quality time. Well, on my list, quality time was the absolute bottom by like a freaking mile.
Wow.
And so I'm not spending quality time with her. She doesn't feel loved. She's not giving me words of affirmation. We're stuck in this cycle of like we're not feeling appreciated and loved, right?
Yeah.
And then in that, they talk about, the 4 seasons of basically marriage. There's moments where you're going to be in summer, things are good. There's going to be moments where you're in winter and it's awful. We're clearly in a winter, right? So we hear this book, we do like, it's almost like counseling, and we leave, and it was unbelievable. Then we spend the next year basically building our relationship, going to therapy, the whole 9, right? We go back to Hume Lake. And I remember looking at her and going, just a year ago, we were in a winter. Now we're almost in a summer. Nice. It was crazy, right?
That's awesome.
And what was encouraging about it, so anyone's listening who's married or thinking about getting married, this was the most encouraging part. We are at a point where it was brutal and very, very difficult.
Right.
Only a year later, and our marriage had become stronger that following year than the 7 years prior that we were married, right? We moved into something special that we never had before, which was very encouraging. And what we learned was if you're willing to work through the challenge, what you get to experience on the other side is better than anything you experienced prior,
sure.
right?
That makes sense.
And so knowing that we will have these times in the future, that was we've got this. Now here we get into the idea, right? I started getting hit up, maybe this is years after that, from managers in the skate industry asking if they could connect their skaters with me who were having a hard time with their marriage. So yeah, hit me up, right? And then I felt like I had this like really clear, like, what felt like it was just like this like vision or like word from God that was like, you need to do this for it wasn't skaters though. It was, you need to do this with other people who are drivers, who struggle with basically obsession and are building business and don't know how to put their wife or their husband first, right? And I was like, dang, okay, here we go. Like, I got to do this. I told my wife about it, and she was like, I think we should do that. But we didn't know when. And so that was probably 3 years ago. And I swear, every year there are moments that happen in my life where somebody goes, you got to do this. It's almost like a reassuring, like, you will do this. So I know I'm going to do that at some point.
Yeah.
I just don't know when.
Wait, so does that mean that you're going to create
So this is
one?
what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like. We're going to do a 3-day, this is what I think. We're going to do a 3-day event somewhere. Let's call it Palm Springs.
So you're creating one.
I'm going to create it.
Classic.
Cool.
So
You can't just do it. You got to fucking be the one
this
to
is
do
the
it.
problem with entrepreneurs.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a gift and a curse. Let's say we do a 3-day event. We're going to build this out. This is our business plan, right? Our mastermind. We're going to do a 3-day event, let's say Palm Springs, right? I'm going to rent out, at least what I'm seeing right now, one of those motel conversions. Maybe there's 15 rooms and it's super hip now. We're going to lock in all 15, right? So there's going to be 14 couples plus my wife, right? We're going to go. I'm going to have a handful of speakers. Maybe one's going to be on communication. One's going to be on, if we get our boy
Gary.
Chapman, right?
Yeah.
Love languages.
Yeah. Gary does not fuck, by the way. I'm going to be honest.
expensive.
Gary doesn't
not
fuck.
fuck.
I'm going to just throw that out right now. There's no way Gary fucks.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Based on that photo, there's no chance.
He looked like he was like 70.
What the fuck, Elliott?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Bro,
dude.
He's telling us.
I know. I'm sorry.
Gary Legend.
My Instagram photo with our guy, we did it. We'll have you tagged in it. Okay? But the whole thing I want to basically accomplish is like, I don't need to be the expert on how to be married, right?
Yeah.
But there is something specific that my wife and I can talk about, which is running a business and trying to be a good husband and a good father. And I can talk about that.
Yeah.
And then I want to bring in the people that basically, helped build our relationship up. And I want to go running with it.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
so I want basically when you leave to go, I had a phenomenal time.
Yeah.
I feel like I have so many more tools now to take home and build out my relationship. And then if you meet other people, I think anytime you're going through a struggle, meeting other people that are going through it as well, it's encouraging.
Be in the trenches with him.
So that's at some point. I don't know the when, but I know it's going to happen.
I mean, what do they say? I feel like growing up, it was always the stat of like 50% of marriages end in divorce, right?
I think it's
don't
higher
know.
than that.
Is it higher than that?
I think so. Yeah, last I
Right.
heard.
It could be. I mean,
Look
it's
it up.
probably
It's-
higher nowadays.
it's high
honestly.
right
It's
now.
pretty wild.
It's really high right now.
That's terrifying.
And you know what
but-
the number one reason is?
What?
Finances.
Oh, really?
Really?
But what does that mean? Like
That means-
someone's not providing, or
Oh,
No, the financial stress. Almost 50% of all marriages in the United States will end
lower
in
than
divorce or
that.
separation. That's crazy.
almost 50. That's terrifying, though.
Yeah, the financial stress that
Right.
is put on a couple ends up being one of the major driving factors towards divorce.
That sucks.
Weird.
very sad.
You think that you would
Wait,
like,
wait,
come
wait.
together
Break
on
that one down again. It says about 73% of third marriages.
That makes sense. If you're getting married for the third time,
Dude.
at
They're
that
married
point,
multiple times.
Wow.
I feel like on the third marriage, just fuck and don't legally get married. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. I mean,
You're not
you can
even
do whatever
legally
you want.
married in your first marriage.
I mean, come on. I mean, legally getting married is a little weird too, but still, you know what? Marriage is a weird thing, and you know.
Are any
what?
of you guys married?
I'm married.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, and then he's
Engaged.
getting married too.
Hey,
Yeah.
congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
October.
there we go.
I live in a house with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So that counts.
Going
And they have a
somewhere.
cat together, so
Hey,
it's kind
look.
of
I have
marriage.
a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Maybe in a few years, once you have your marriage retreats going, we'll all bring our ladies to celebrate.
Boom.
Does it need to be something where you're having problems?
Yeah.
Or
No,
Just
it definitely
working on it.
doesn't.
Can you get from an A to an A plus?
Well, look, I think like anything, right? Like we all do business. Like I would go to an event that taught me how to do business better.
Yeah,
of course.
sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. That's a good point.
So maybe it's like a
High
leadership.
demand though. 14 rooms.
High
14
dem-
people or couples. That's kind of hard to get in there.
It's 28 people.
Oh, it's going to be exclusive,
What's
is what
28
you're saying?
people?
Or
It's
hard to sell?
exclusive.
Exclusive.
Exclusive. as
Easy to
fuck.
sell.
It's hard to get a room.
Exclusive.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Saguaro Hotel.
Who doesn't want to work on their
Saguaro?
relationship and
That one's a little
build
weird.
each other
dude.
up?
And dude, we're talking like sick. Like I don't know. We'll have a chef there. Like what are we doing?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
the business model of that is interesting. How much do you charge, and then how much are you paying the speakers and the chef? And
grand.
blah 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 blah. You know.
Well, I'm going to start with how much it's going to cost to do it and work backwards.
Yeah.
I got an idea. You should do it in Thousand Oaks. You should pass a law where anyone making one of those, it's tax exempt.
I can't do this. Is guys now we're getting this is
I'm just kidding.
this is the gray area that gives. That
I'm
gives-
just kidding.
Yeah.
But for real, you should go for governorship. So I feel like Gavin Newsom's going to run for president this
He is.
year, and then he's out, and then who's going to fill the void? Boom. The next mayor of Thousand Oaks is bumping up.
Is Thousand Oaks the spot on the freeway when you're going up the 5 that has the really
Starts
nice
getting
in
pretty.
and out?
That's Westlake, I
5.
think.
No, we're on the 101.
I think you're thinking Calabasas or Westlake with the rocks and
Yeah,
shit all
yeah.
nice.
Is that
Yeah.
the 5? What is that?
I think it is.
I thought this was a 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think
that's the
that's like
5.
Westlake or
That's-
Calabasas.
Wait, hang on. Is this the In and Out that the colors don't look like any other In and Out?
Yeah, it's like a
That's
stone.
Westlake.
It's a
Yeah, it's
stone.
Westlake.
Oh yeah, is it, that's
My
near
office is
Thousand.
across. Yeah, if
You're
you're
right
if you're
there?
eating, my office is on the other side of the freeway.
Oh really?
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah, and what's it called? Kickapoo or
Oh,
The-
fuck.
that one off
Kickapoo.
ramp.
Kickapoo.
there's like a
That's
there's an
further, I
off
think.
ramp that's like is it Kickapoo?
I never heard of that.
Anyways, whatever. I always go
Yeah.
by there. I'm like, look at that freaking nice ass In and Out.
Yeah.
And that's where you. That's where-
Lindero and Westlake Boulevard is where that In and Out is.
Zone.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a great one.
that's good.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
I
Yeah,
know,
fun
right?
fact.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you for coming in.
Heck
today.
yeah, thanks for having
I'm
me,
sorry
boys.
we went on so many random tangents.
I love
but
it. It's
yeah,
Fun.
it was,
It ended with governorship, which is awesome.
Did.
yeah. I feel like I have 1,000 more things I want to ask you. So, but we have.
You have
Run out of
a
time.
few minutes, so it's
Hit me
spam
with a
as
question.
fast as you can.
Hit me with a question.
Oh,
Hit it.
Man. All right. Well,
Better be good.
what was the feeling? Or actually, did you always know you're going to go pro in skating? Or like, when did you first find out you're going pro? I just asked 3 questions there, and they're all different. The last one though, I don't even know what to ask.
When did you first find out that you're going pro?
No. Well, when was the first time you thought you wanted to go pro in skateboarding?
Damn.
Um,
We're going way back.
I actually never wanted to go pro.
Oh, fuck.
Never?
Damn.
I never wanted to go pro. I just didn't want to work.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the way out.
Yeah, that was the way. That was the only option I found where I can keep skating and make money.
What
But
made
not-
you
but you
not
love
want to
working.
work?
You also
I know
love
you
working.
love working. You're like a workaholic. it seems
I
like.
know. Well, it transformed into something, right?
Yeah.
What I knew at that point is all I wanted to do was skate, and I didn't want to stop skating. That's all I knew then.
Okay.
So I tried to figure out how to make that happen. Well, I can be pro and get paid to do this. Okay, cool. I'll do that. Then, and you talked about this, you mentioned it earlier, about pro athletes who basically struggle with identity and purpose. A big thing that happens is you have something that you love, which is a passion. Then, few amount of people figure out how to make that a career.
Yeah.
Then it takes on a thing of its own, right? Now you have pressures and responsibilities, and you start hating the thing that you loved, right? It happens for all of us.
Yeah.
For me, I had to find a new way to fall in love with skateboarding, and it became the business side of skateboarding. It was the, how do I build my brand? How do I build more product offerings? How do I create this, how do I make this video that resonates with more people? That I love that side of it. Then, as my career ended and it no longer became, that love for it went away, then I just had to find the new thing to put that kind of drive into. So it started off as an option to keep doing it. And then it turned into something where I found out I love the process. That's really what it is at the end of the day. I love having to do what it takes to get to where I want to go.
Yeah.
And trying to get, become pro was part of that. And then now it's like I have this vision of where I want our company to go, and I'm obsessed with making that happen.
Crazy. The transition between ending that and starting anew sounds challenging.
It's hard.
Like, when do you know it's done? And when do you know it's ready to sell? Or when do you know the next project's ready to be there, right? Is it like an epiphany? You know what I mean? Is it just
Did
like,
you say
done?
I'm retiring from skateboarding? Was there an announcement, or is it just I'm probably going to stop and move on to something else?
Okay.
Tweet it?
Okay, so I didn't tweet it.
I'm done.
You remember when I told you I got hurt and had surgery?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was it.
So leading up to that, I tore my hip, fractured my leg. I was skating through it for like a year and a half.
Oof.
And I called my main sponsor, which was basically 100% of my income. And I was like, okay, look, guys, I've got two and a half years left on my contract. Tore my leg. I can skate, and I'll push through this if you guys want. I can do it, and then I'll fix my leg afterward. Or I can fix my leg, I'll be out for 6 months, and then I'm back. And like, oh no, fix it.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
Cool, right?
Yeah,
I fix
good
it.
advice.
I'm 3 weeks on the couch. They found a loophole in my contract. And
Oh, fuck.
so
Fuckers.
Yeah.
basically,
That's just one random guy.
I'm in here, all income gone,
Damn.
on my couch, can't skate, and I'm going,
Heartbreak.
okay, what do I do? And so what I basically, the thought process going through my head was, I recover, try to get another sponsor, maybe I skate for another 2 years, 3 years, and then I'm right back in this position. So it felt like one option, I was just delaying the inevitable, or the other option, just freaking do it. And so I was like, all right, this is go time. Next career.
Damn.
Yeah, and then I had to figure it out. And it's
That
hard.
was- that was-
Reinventing yourself is hard.
That was after Saint Archer's sell.
That was after.
And you didn't want to like take a few years to just live off of the sell, the amount of money you made from that?
No,
You're just like,
that sounded miserable for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little.
I can't imagine you retired. I barely know you, but I just can't imagine you like just golfing or something.
I'm not. No,
Yeah,
I for my personality, and I think you could actually make the argument for everyone. I don't think that's a good life. I think everyone gets to a point where it's just
You need to
not
be
ide-
doing.
Yeah.
Maybe doing, but
Especially if you're so involved in something, like you want to be wanted for something.
Well, yeah, I think it's
Use
just
your
like the
talents.
idea of like contributing, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you have a talent or a skill, or you have responsibility, and a lot of times like that produces you to be better.
Okay,
And like
but
that whole
here-
drive, I
here-
think is good.
Here's a hypothetical
Okay.
scenario, which is also pretty spot on to what happened to you. Okay, so you sell. I don't know how much you made. I'm not gonna go into that. I don't. need to
10
ask you.
trillion.
Say you made
10 trillion.
hypothetically $20 million. Okay, that's enough to have your family live off of. You don't need to skateboard anymore. You don't need to do any of that. And then you're saying you still need to be a part of the community and contribute somehow. Well, then you become a council member. You can focus on your family. You can focus on the council.
Okay.
You can focus on maybe getting into a new hobby, which is mountain biking. And then you want to start competing in mountain biking or tennis or whatever it may be. And you fill your spots with that. So you're conductive to society in different ways, but you don't need to actually take on any money. And then maybe you start investing in real estate to kind of have some side things, So I'm just curious, what drove you to restart your whole career when you already did something that most people will never do?
That's good. That's really good. Okay, so when I sold Saint Archer, the amount of money that I had personally, I could have never worked again, but it wouldn't have been the lifestyle that my wife and I wanted to live for the rest of our lives.
Got
That's
it.
so dope, though. How good is that feeling? You're like, I'm fucking done, bitch.
Well, you know what? But it wasn't that actually.
It wasn't that?
No, it
Not
was
even
like,
for like one dinner. You're like, let's go fucking ball out.
okay, I'll give you this. This would be a good one.
You
We
didn't ball
sell
out one time?
Saint Archer, right? I pay more in taxes to the government that I had made 14 years of being a pro skateboarder, right?
Man.
And about 5 months after we sold the business, Jen looked at me. She goes, "Should we like do something? Should we like celebrate?" And I was like, I guess.
You definitely should.
We went to Mastro's and had dinner.
Oh, fuck yeah. See, steak and wine.
There you go.
That always solves the
$300 celebration
fuck yeah.
afterwards, right?
That's amazing.
So no, I didn't take it off. This was basically what I thought is I have a vision of what I can accomplish. And if I didn't go after it, I felt like I was letting myself down, or letting those that I love down. And so the retirement idea was not really an option. But what was cool about it is I had the option to choose. Like I didn't have to like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Oh my God. Yeah.
It was
that's
like,
a huge factor.
what do I want to do?
Yeah.
And I think that really helped me find like the true next thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like to your point, yes, like I could have been on city council, could have, kept investing in real estate, but there is this idea or this vision that I was hung up on, which was I want to build a business that educates people on money and how investing works, and I want to help as many people as possible get to financial freedom.
Cool.
Like that was the vision I had, and I felt like if I didn't do that, then I'm not living like what my purpose is or the talents that I was given. I'm not going
That's
after
awesome.
them,
And so, can we pitch your business a little bit? Because first of all, I would be down to
Jump in, boys.
jump in. I want to know.
Jump in, boys.
Do it.
I want to know how to do that. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I mean, right now at the level, well, it's hard to invest in real estate, especially commercially. So if there's like crowdfunded ways to do it, which sounds like exactly what you're doing,
Right.
Sounds super fucking awesome.
So look, I'll give you the pitch for entrepreneurs because you guys are that.
Yeah.
It's this one. We build business, and our focus is on business because that's what it should be, and we have a lot riding in that business. You get to a point where it doesn't make sense for you to invest back into the business. The business is making enough money to do that for you. And then you have money, you're like, okay, what can I invest in that diversifies me? But you don't need to go and jump out and start building a real estate portfolio. You need to build this business because this is your highest opportunity. So for them, we basically go, if you want to diversify and get invested into these assets that offer a lot of tax efficiency as well, you don't do anything. We do it. Your job is to do due diligence on us. And we all go, when done right, we go make money together.
How long is that turnover process? Is it long term or is it?
It depends on what we have a few offerings that are available. Some of our offerings, like we have a cash flow fund, and what we're doing right now is we're lending on commercial real estate.
Okay.
And so those loans are typically paid off, 18 months, 17 months. So those turn over a little bit quicker. So that means your money's not maybe locked up as long. And then when we look at an apartment or a storage unit to build, we're typically holding it between 5 and 10 years is our goal.
What's the minimum entry to get involved in something like that you guys are dealing with?
Okay, so we have a good amount of offerings now. I would say most of our funds that we offer, the minimum investment is $100,000.
Okay.
We have other offerings where the minimum is actually higher, and then we have 2 offerings that we're working on where the minimum is actually going way down. We're going to do one where it's going to go after everyone, like $5,000 minimum.
Yeah.
You don't have to qualify as an accredited investor. It's just a full like crowd fund.
And how does that 5,000 what's that return look like?
Well, it depends on because we have different offerings. Like we're on our 9th offering. The return fits what we're going after. So if we're building an apartment, right, that return is going to look different than if we're lending on an apartment because it's a different type of risk, right? So like on our lending portfolio right now, we're targeting about a 7 to 10% return. Right now, it's about net 10% to investor.
Yeah.
So that thing's paid out. We pay out quarterly, but it's just cash flow, right? On our apartments that we're building, it will land anywhere from 12% to 20-something percent.
Well, I imagine
Awesome.
if you're $5,000 in for a crowdfunded thing, you're making a lot. Is it still 10% or 7 to 10%?
Yeah. So regardless of the minimum, if whatever we're going after, let's say we're lending, right? And the target return is 7 to 10%. Whether you put 5,000 or $500,000,
It's
still 7 to 10%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just safe investments, pretty much.
It's risk adverse. We call it a risk adverse return.
Yeah, that sounds smart as hell.
So commercial real estate is, I mean, it shows up. It's a product that's of need, and when you do it right, at least my experience, it's been pretty solid.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So if we do business together, we need to agree on things in a back alley, in suits, with cigars. Okay, that's my one requirement. And then if we are successful, we get a steak dinner with some wine.
This is what I would say. I'll add to it.
Ooh.
Cigars, that's all day. Scotch, suits.
exactly.
We could do that. Right? We
Exactly.
could seal the deal that way.
In a back alley.
The back alley, like I'm
Okay, that's a
actually,
little creepy, but maybe like a
like-
nice hotel back room or something.
That's nice.
what I'm,
Okay.
I was actually, I have cold plunge in my mind. I have a trip
Oh,
to Poland
fuck.
with Wim Hof. Like,
Oh, fuck.
I'm thinking breathing techniques.
Oh my God. I'm
Okay,
down.
I'll tell you
sold
what.
me.
This
Fuck
is
it.
this is
Pivot.
what I'll tell you what we did. We had 2 projects that we sold last year.
Okay.
We had 2 distributions that went out to investors, and we did a couple dinners where we went to Katsuya and had some athletes come out.
Yeah.
Didn't tell them why, and had everybody's check underneath. And so we started. Hey, we just want to do this dinner. Say thank you. If you look under, you have a check, and it's like, what the? We'll do stuff like
Fuck
that.
yeah.
That's like more fun or cool.
Wait, check under my
Whoa.
seat really quick.
Oh, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool one we did.
That's awesome.
Damn,
So
that's
I don't know.
dope.
We'll figure it
I'm
out.
down for Poland. That sounds fun. It sounds a little weird, but I'm down.
What was that guy's name?
like
Glenn,
weird.
Glenn Campo?
I'll tell you what.
Glenn Campo?
I don't remember.
The 5 love
Yeah, I
languages?
can't remember his
We'll
name.
bring Chapman in.
Gary
Gary
Chapman.
This is what I think. This is what I think we
He
do.
needs to prove to me that he votes.
You guys end up coming in, right?
Okay.
We do maybe the apartment fund together.
Yeah,
We
10
start
trillion.
making money.
Yeah.
We're doing a distribution. I'm gonna hit the boys up. Coming to see you guys.
Got a PJ.
And I say we do it here, where we met.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I say we guys,
I'm
guys,
down.
let's relive this moment 5
Day
years
one.
ago.
Sounds
Exactly.
amazing.
Go in the cold plunge, just do a
Yeah.
podcast, pour a glass of whiskey,
Wow.
pass out checks.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Sounds
Easy.
amazing.
On
In 5
camera.
years, we probably won't be here still. Probably have a bigger warehouse.
I'll go to you guys' new warehouse.
Exactly. Okay, but then we just need one of those fat checks. You know what I mean? Those
You guys wanna do the big ones?
styrofoam
You wanna do the big ones?
I've never seen one in real
Check
life.
under your chairs, and you're like, I already saw it, dude.
I see this. I see this now. We're walking in with the big check. I like that.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
that's what I'm thinking. A big old fatty one with some balloons or something.
Or you make the check out, or the chairs out of a huge check. It's like
Oh
a
my
big
God!
bench.
You have to put them together.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna do something.
Yeah, we're just.
Yeah.
I'm gonna store this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
do
good.
it.
In the spank bank.
Well, cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Boys.
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Heck yeah.
Great
Thank
to meet
you
you
guys. Heck
Cheers.
yeah.
Cheers.
All right.
There we go.